Bonhams are a major fine art auction house. Having an association with the Vscc puts us into contact with absolutely the right sort of people.
We're Michelin distributors, and our involvement with the Vscc has been very important to Michelin in giving us a veneer of responsibility and involvement with the old car scene.
I think it's the opportunity to get involved in something that is really unique.
For potential clients, we're really offering a unique experience, a special day out that can be tailored to your own requirements. What's going on behind me is a very good example of our corporate hospitality. Here we are at the world's premier Grand Prix racing circuit, home of the British Grand Prix. There's racing going on outside, people here with friends, customers, clients, enjoying a bit of lunch, and then they'll go out and watch the racing. And there are also lots of other opportunities for actually promoting one's self. These race meetings, for example, each race meeting has its own programme, which has advertising space in it as well, and it presents the most unusual spectacle. So it's essentially something completely different, something you won't see anywhere else without really having to look for it. And it's something, because it's so hard to explain, you need to bring people to see it, and that really is part of its appeal. It's just so unusual.
I think really it's the opportunity to get involved in something that is really unique, because it is about motorsport, but it's about an awful lot more. It's about history, and it's about a sort of atmosphere that is truly unique and extremely British. It's a bit like the sort of Tower of London, but different. If you wander around the paddock here, you have the opportunity to look at, it's a motor museum, but much, much more fun.
For people who have always had an interest in cars, and particular interest in historic cars, the Vscc is the really ideal platform for participating and being involved with the cars that we enjoy, we love, because they do organize motorsport for historic cars, circuits like here at Silverstone, hill climbs, sprint races.
Circuit racing is the cream of the cake, really, but we do a whole variety of other events, mostly speed events on tarmac surfaces, that means sprinting and hill climbing, at venues which are much more suitable maybe for picnicking than sitting on a grandstand and watching racing cars.
I've probably been a member of the Vscc for about 6-7 years. 6 years competing actively, starting off sprints, hill climbs, then moving on to circuit racing, and that's the best adrenaline buzz.
Because what you're seeing is what might be called course motor racing. The great thing with Formula One is they very, very rarely make mistakes. The great thing about this is most of us are making lots of mistakes all the time, and consequently the racing is very exciting. Of course there's going to be a lot of changes for position if people are constantly spinning off or making a mistake in the braking area or whatever. Here you'll find cars of all different shapes and sizes. They make all sorts of different noises, they slide about, drivers fight and twirl the steering wheels to keep them under control, and you see this wonderful sort of crescendo of noise and excitement, particularly as they blast away from the line.
We get quite an exposure as being a company that's heavily involved with vintage and classic motorsport, and that's important to us because we also sell tyres to classic cars. A lot of Vscc members either have classic cars or are involved with classic cars, or they're the sort of people who have got reasonable positions in business where they can specify tyres for their modern cars. We sponsor several events, we sponsor a race series, we sponsor part of the trial series, and we advertise a lot in the Vscc magazines.
For potential clients, we're really offering a unique experience, a special day out that can be tailored to your own requirements. The whole day starts off maybe with being met at a hotel or wherever you're staying, being driven to the venue, and then enjoying the day's activities, meeting various people, maybe having your name in the programme as a sponsor, maybe being able to have a ride around the course in the course car, being able to present the trophies or the garlands to the winners of the races.
We've been sponsoring the Vscc for well over half a dozen years now, and it's an association that we really want to continue. The average Vscc member obviously has pretty good disposable income. You need to if you want to go historic racing.
pretty expensive, but you can work your way in for those who are enthusiasts and want to start at a small level.
You don't actually have to spend a lot of money on your car. There are much more modest cars than this one, although this is not nearly at the top end of the range.
The wonderful sort of what one might call the cheapo end, right up to cars that, in some cases, are the most valuable racing cars in the world. And of course, if you're racing those sort of cars and restoring them, then you've got a bunch of customers who obviously can afford it.
The major benefits we can get is obviously because we're at the forefront of the Vscc members. One day they might think about selling a car, and we like to think that they're going to think of us first. It's a Bugatti Type 59, and it was a car that we sold down at Goodwood. And this really endorses the relationship that Bonhams have with the Vscc. The owner of that car was a member and is an octogenarian, getting on in life now. And he contacted Bonhams with a view of selling the car. We handled the sale for him, and it made £1.5 million.
There are some of the most valuable cars in the world being raced here today.
We sponsor a race series for cars that drive to race meetings and drive home from race meetings and compete in it.
Where else can you see 100 years of racing history?
The sponsorship of the Vscc puts us in touch with exactly the right sort of people who we're trying to get hold of.